The Monkey Island series doesn't have the richest but interesting history. The director of the first two parts was Ron Gilbert. The sequel ended with a cliffhanger that left audience with many questions. Gilbert couldn't answer these questions because he left LucasArts, and the later games in the series created without his involvement were about other events. Now, more than 30 years later, Gilbert has managed to return to his brainchild. In Return to Monkey Island, he not only decided to continue the story of the second part, but tried to make canonical games that he himself had nothing to do with. The result is brilliant, but we can already notice that at least one of the components of the novelty caused controversial reaction from the audience. I thought those who are unfamiliar with the previous games will also be able to enjoy Return to Monkey Island. For the fans, it is a real gift with a lot of fan service. They get to rest the island again, meet familiar characters, and see how they and the style image on the streets have changed. Stan's second-hand ship store, for example, stands abandoned with its windows boarded up, but Wally the cartographer's shop is still open. For those who do not remember the content of past games, there are plenty of reminders. The protagonist, the irresistible Guybrush Threepwood, does not miss the opportunity to reminisce about his adventures when he bumps into an object. He seems a sheep from the first part of the series, or in dialogues with his wife Elaine and other characters he mentions something that you forgot or didn't know about. At the same time, in the endless fanservice novel does not roll. In addition to the numerous references, it is full of funny jokes that will not make you laugh at the top of your lungs, but it's easy to raise your spirits. I thought the banner scripts sometimes occur. Most of the dialogues in read and listened to with pleasure. When Guybrush asked the voodoo lady about her name, which should have been killed after all these years, even those who haven't played Old Monkey Island will get the joke and smile. The central story, on the other hand, is about Guybrush finally trying to uncover the secret of Monkey Island, except that he has no screw or ship, and his eternal foe, LeChuck, has set himself the same goal and is ready for a much better journey. Find pirates, get ship, join LeChuck crew. Guybrush finds his solution pretty quickly, and then the adventure begins with a variety of locations, some of which have not yet been seen in the series. The community has long argued about the visual style of the game. They say the graphics are hipster. It would be better if the artists choose the classic version, as in the latest Leisure Suit Larry. To me immediately, the graphics also seem strange, but in the game it looks great or so quickly to use to it. Particularly successful are the locations, bright, juicy and vivid. For example, in the woods you see insects flying past the camera. The characters are charming, and the moments with a change of the perspective, when their faces are shown close up, and dynamics to the dialogues. When the game comes out, talks of visual style receded into the background and fun begins discussing the ending. Not everyone has got through the game, but we can already see that the attitude towards the final is different. Without spoilers, Return of Monkey Island and the way the game from the characters of LeChuck Revenge and Timberview Park should have. If we're expecting something different, you will be disappointed. If you're willing to put up with the author's vision rather than condemning it immediately, as the thing of the credits, you love this ending. I belong to the second camp. I think this ending best suits the game and the entire epic. As for the gameplay, there's no arguments. It's a classic point-and-click quest in the spirit of an old Monkey Island. We stack items in the inventory, communicate a lot, and interact with objects. Most of the puzzles are not convoluted, but that's better. Quests have always been characterized by illogical puzzles that were impossible to solve without hints, and here you don't often find yourself in a deadlock. If problems do arise, almost from the beginning of the game is available book hints. Is the hints not the solutions? Return to Monkey Island is reluctant to describe the necessary actions, giving only hints at first. But if they are not enough, you can quickly move on in the solution and not suffer. This is not the only attempt to modernize the genre. The character can run around location if you double-click on the selected location. And there is no need to engage in pixel hunting thanks to the button highlighting the object with which you can interact. The main feature is the presence of difficulty levels. They make the game accessible to everyone. In simplified mode, the puzzles require less action, and in some cases are absent altogether. Complex mode through up more puzzles. It comes to the fact that even the cards that point the way to the goal, changing with each passage. It turns out to be a standard adventure game with amenities, except for a couple of tedious quest with quest. In the second half of the game, it's hard to follow the novelty. Its atmosphere takes you back many years, when such games were more popular and eventually becomes classic. Perhaps the unconventional visual style and controversial ending is just the thing that will make Return to Monkey Island memorable. Return to the Monkey Island is a very heartwarming quest, made by people who were clearly interested in revisiting this universe. There is no attempt here to bring something new to the genre that would make it come alive, but in this case none of this was needed. Fans have long wanted to see a new Monkey Island from the creator of the series, and they got it. Now they just have to decide if they are happy with the ending, and that could take a few more years. The process of the game is a heartwarming story, overflowing with reference to the old Monkey Island, mostly good quality jokes, many of which will be understandable even to those unfamiliar with the series, not bad puzzles, whose conditions change depending on the difficulty, and the visual style is very pleasant. Great soundtrack that perfectly complements the atmosphere, great voice characters, hint system at the first make to do hints, not giving out solution. So, highly recommend to play that game.